Not that you asked for this, but would you like to see my RV? I didn't think so. So go ahead and turn this off right now. But if you are interested, well, here goes. I'm starting at the back because of this. When I bought my RV back in April, I knew right away that I had to give it a name. Everybody seems to do that, especially those who full-time in their RVs like I'm doing. And I also knew that being a Star Wars geek whose favorite character is Han Solo, that I had to name my vehicle after my favorite Star Wars vehicle, which is this, the Millennium Falcon. You can call it the MoFo for short. Millennium Falcon, MoFo, you get that connection, right? And don't quibble with me, don't try to tell me it should be the MyFa or some crazy thing like that. It's the MoFo. Over on the driver's side, on the other side, are all the usual things. There's a generator, there's hookups for sewer, electric, water. There's an external shower that I just used minutes ago to hose off Rudy after a walk on the beach. There's also a storage compartment and a propane tank. But those are just not very exciting, but this rig comes with all those features. There are some boring features. This is where you fill water. These vents are for the refrigerator. This is for the furnace. There's a couple of external plugs as well. If you can see that yellow piece down there, that's for external propane. I have some storage here. And then I got this. Wasn't something I was looking for when I bought an RV, but this one came with it, and so decided to go with it. It's an external entertainment center, nice 32-inch TV, stereo, Bluetooth, all that stuff, speakers that sound pretty good. I'm not going to fire it up for you and bore you with how it sounds, but it's kind of a cool thing to have. Right inside are most of the controls. Lights for the porch, an entryway, kitchen, living room. You can start the generator from here or turn it off. You can turn off all the lights at once by pressing this on button, or turn them all off at the same time by pressing off, of course. That only makes sense. Switches to turn the batteries on and off. There's a step that automatically swings in and out. This is pretty cool. Comes with an awning. There's no legs to adjust or to have to mount on the side of the RV. It extends out, and you can see those supports that flex out. And when it's fully extended, that's all the support there is for the awning. Most RV awnings are not electric like this. Most RV awnings require legs to be mounted, but this one does not. And once that is out, it's fully extended now and it's in place. Part of what makes it work is that if it gets too windy, it automatically retracts, which is a cool feature. The first thing you see when you come into the MoFo is this way cool rug in the shape of the Millennium Falcon. It was a gift from my daughter and her husband. They also gave me the decal on the back of the MoFo as well. They do seem to know and understand that I am a huge Star Wars geek. The other thing you see as you enter is the couch. It's made out of a fake leather of one kind or another that's supposed to be pretty dang durable and cleans up pretty easily. Underneath the couch are a couple of drawers used for storage. I keep clothing in them. These e-bags have been pretty helpful in keeping stuff organized. Behind the couch and behind Rudy is actually my bed. And I'll see if I can show you how this thing works. Setting the bed up is pretty easy. The first step of the process is getting the dog off the couch. There's a button I press to extend the couch, and watch what happens. Well, that's not what normally happens. Normally, Rudy will get off the couch, as she is maybe going to do now. Nope, not going to do it. Could you get off? Thank you. And go out. Thank you. You can see that I've removed one of the arms. The second one comes off just as easily. I just set them in place over there. And then at each end there is a knob, and I turn that knob up, and the one at the other end up as well. And then the Murphy bed folds down. I keep it made up. I keep the pillows stored in a box I'll show you in a minute, but it folds up and down pretty easily. There's also a window over there that I can open at night if I want some additional ventilation. When I'm done in the morning, I just make up the bed, put the pillows away in the box that I promise I'll show you, and then push it back up into place. There is a bit of maneuvering that I have to do to make sure that all of the bedding stays behind the Murphy bed, but it works pretty easily. And once I lock it back in place, then I can retract the sofa once again and put the arms back on it, and it's back to being a couch. This is the cab that I'll show you in a few minutes, but above the cab is a pretty big storage area, and I have most of my crud up there in various boxes of one kind or another, some hiking and backpacking equipment, bedding, all sorts of stuff. While we're here, I'll show you my pins. I'm not really a pin collector, but I did want to be able to commemorate my travels, and so I'm going to snag a pin from places I visit that sell them. So I have a pin here from the Olympic National Park, and also at the Olympic National Park, the Hurricane Ridge Visitor Center. This is the pantry. Just a bunch of different foodstuffs. Okay, maybe the bottom area has mostly alcoholic beverages in it. The lower half, coffee cups. I don't often eat the Mountain House foods, but I have a bunch of them for backpacking. Up above this window next to the entry is where I keep DVDs that I'm watching, books that I'm reading, and I sometimes smoke a pipe, and so I got that up there too. Just below the window is a nice counter that as you can see, I'm using mostly as a charging station. My iPad, my iPhone, my MacBook Air are all currently charging there. Next to that over here is a television on the inside with a Blu-ray DVD player. There is a cupboard below that has a couple of inverters. The remotes for the equipment are there as well. There is an antenna on the roof, and a switch for that is down inside there. Fuse box below that. There's a shelf up above the television that works good for storage of things like, my keys. I got pens and pencils and other things in there. A bank that I throw extra change in. I'm giving you more information than you ever wanted about this place. There's also a cupboard up here that I store magazines and some other stuff. This brown box is not a chessboard, but it's a storage box, and it also doubles as a footrest. I keep my pillows in there, and ooh, gross, I threw a pair of socks in there to get them out of the way. So now the kitchen. There's another control panel up here. This one also has gauges that tell me how I'm doing for fresh water, gray water, black water, how much liquid propane I have left, the charge on my battery. I'm plugged into shore power now, so it's doing pretty well. And how many hours on my generator, which is 1.9 so far. I've got some storage up above in the kitchen. Nothing too exciting, mostly dishes and junk food and other things that I'm embarrassed that you're seeing. Down here, a sink, obviously. It comes with a cover. that also doubles as a cutting board, although if you use it as a cutting board, it's going to leave knife marks on it. Counter kind of wraps around over here. Propane stove. And got lots of storage here. Top drawer for silverware. Second drawer for junk food, because that's who I am. And more storage there. Over here, this storage area, there's a lot of equipment in here, but as you can see, I've stored some things like my mini Keurig that I probably couldn't live without, some cleaning supplies, other stuff. One cool thing that I figured out early on is that this fine garbage can, which I had tried storing away in various places while traveling, works pretty well just to sit right there. It's on a stable footprint, and so although it's usually empty when I'm driving because I've dumped the garbage before I left the campsite, it fits right there pretty well and stays in place without much muss or fuss. This is the furnace. While we're in the neighborhood, I'll show you a couple of other things. This is the air conditioning unit. Has a control panel that flips down. You can adjust it, obviously, to the temperature you want. If you just want it to be a fan, it can do that. This is a nice vent slash sunroof. You can open it up so that you can get fresh air. There's also a couple of things to keep bugs out. That'll keep sun out as well. The other is just a screen intended to keep the bugs out. As silly as this is one of my favorite features. This is called a Fantastic Fan, and it's pretty nice. It closes up, of course, if it's raining or for when you're traveling, but when you arrive, you just crank it open. Once you open it up, you can set the fan speed here, and there's also a bit of a temperature gauge here. You can see how it's warmer or cooler, and if you have it depending on the temperature you set for it, it will know to automatically kick on when the temperature is above that, and it pulls air through the coach pretty nicely. With a couple of windows cracked, you can feel a breeze in here, which is pretty nice. That's the door to the bathroom straight ahead. This is not all that exciting, but when you're looking at RVs, finding one with these kind of features, this is not all that exciting on the inside, but when you're looking at an RV and you want something with a bathroom that's pretty functional, this one kind of rose to the top of the pile right away. Has a sink, obviously, and a toilet. There's a window that looks out back. The Millennium Falcon logo is just below that. Hi. How are you? There's a couple of storage spaces in here, and stuff will fall out, as you can see. I'm not going to open the other one, but a couple of storage spaces for toiletries, as well as underneath that black bag in there. Not that you would care. That's where I keep my dirty clothes. Once I decided I was going to full-time in my RV, I thought that I would really want to have a regular old stand-up shower. Most RVs on the smaller end, the Class Bs, have what they call a wet bath, where the toilet, sink, and shower are all together, and you literally have to sit down on the toilet to shower, and I didn't want that. So I got this. It has a bit of a latch right there to keep it closed when you're traveling. This also had corian on the inside rather than the standard plastic, so it worked a bit better for me. The shower gel, shower shampoo dispensers here were an aftermarket thing that my son-in-law and I installed. Works really well. It can be it's permanently mounted there. I just have to refill it when the time comes. Looks pretty good with the rest of the stuff. An exciting squeegee to scrape things down when I'm done. A nice squeegee there. I keep the squeegee handy to get the bulk of the water off the walls when I'm done showering. Most mornings when I shower, there's a bit of sunlight in here, which is also a nice feature. Most mornings when I shower, there's a bit of sunlight in here, which is also a nice feature. So here's Rudy's favorite spot. I got this bed at Costco, not knowing whether it would fit or not, but it does. It fits pretty dang well. And she is pretty happy to ride up here as we drive along. She can rest her head out the window if it's rolled down. She can sit and look out any of the windows if she wants to. Most of the time she just lays curled up and stares at me while I'm driving, which is a little creepy, but I really don't mind. Underneath this, I keep her container of dog food. I have other supplies in a bag for her over off on the closer to the door. And behind that I have a mount for my GoPro when I want to film things going down the road. And then just because I'm silly, I have a dashboard Jesus up there that bounces around way too much and gets in the way of the GoPro picture way too much.